Yo soy Engel Fonseca de NeuronaTV en IAB Conecta 2014. Estamos súper contentos. Acabamos de escuchar una plática, un keynote increíble de Raj Rao de 3M, VP de Innovación, VP de eTransformation. How are you, Raj?
I'm very well, thank you. Appreciate it.
First time in Mexico?
No, this is my fourth time. I'm excited to be here, but thank you.
Great. You know, I'm really inspired about what you are. I'm really inspired about your company. What you spoke about, I mean, 3M has total authority. It's not like just some topic you guys chose. You live innovation. So I wanted to ask you, you spoke about reinventing and innovation. How do you, as a person, reinvent yourself? How you do it? What habits do you have to reinvent yourself?
Right, so from my perspective, I think reinvention is a continuous process of learning and bringing that learning into how you think and then shaping your actions based on that. So all three elements have to be in place. So for me, learning is the most important one. There are a lot of thought leaders in our industry, as you probably know, and a lot of very successful companies. So I've taken the time to connect with the people in those companies. I attend their talks, they attend my talks, we network with one another. And through that informal process, you'll learn a lot. Because I think you can always read stuff, but when you start understanding the story behind the story, it's very interesting. So my most inspired moments have come from that kind of personal conversations. And I think we have to use digital as a way to reinforce it versus substitute it. I think we spend a lot of time reading and connecting, but not in a deep manner. So for me, that deep connection is very important. And then based on what I observe, I start thinking about what do I need to do differently to be more successful in my role in the company. Because at the end of the day, that's the expression of that capability. So just having that capability is not helpful. So the second part is influencing, right? So talking to you and having a personal relationship with you, inviting you to my place, attending your son's game, and then talking with one another about our thinking really helps you and I get things done in the company, right? So I think that social connection is very critical. So I travel a lot, as you probably know. Sure. And when I travel, I have dinner with teams, I go to the marketplace with them. We don't just sit in a meeting room. So we exchange time in the taxi, in the car, have coffee together, explore ideas, and then from that, influence people. So that's part of reinvention. And the final piece is doing it on a long enough period of time, not to be selfish and say, I want to be promoted or I want to be seen by somebody, so I'm going to do it for 1 month. It never works that way, right? So you have to believe in that model and make your personality integrated with reinvention. So I think all these three things are very critical for me.
Wow, Raj, what I'm thinking about what you're saying is the best technology to reinvent yourself is connecting with other people.
Very simple technology. Yeah. And I think all the tools, we have no excuse not to do it. I mean, if you just think about, if I wanted to know who you are, I don't have to ask you a lot of things, right? I can just go online and I can know who you're friends with and what you say. And when I meet you, I can share that perspective and then have a much stronger relationship with you without having to have a long tenure relationship. So I think it's very easy for people now to connect with other people. Everyone is public. Everything you say is in the public domain. And therefore finding connections is, especially on LinkedIn and on Twitter, is really easy. I just think we don't make the time. And so I think we just have to make the time to do that.
Yeah, you make me think also that being shallow, not being deep, not being vulnerable with people, regarding your feelings, your thoughts, can limit you on reinventing yourself.
So I told you last week I was in Shanghai, right? Yeah. So before I went to Shanghai, what I do is I have a lot of friends on LinkedIn. So I went on LinkedIn and I started looking at my friends who live in Shanghai. And I found one guy from Coca-Cola, because we have the Coca-Cola CEOs on our board, okay? So we benchmark with them all the time as a company. So we just finished a benchmarking with Coca-Cola around what they're doing globally. So I looked at my list of friends and I discovered that a guy called Vineet Tucker had attended one of my talks, and he was my LinkedIn buddy. He worked for Coca-Cola in Shanghai, and he was the VP for content for all of APAC. So I wrote to him, I said, I'm coming to Shanghai, I'm meeting with Yahodian, I'm meeting with Performix and a few agencies. I have some time in Pudong, maybe we can connect, because I know you're connected with me, I read your blog, you read my blog, let's make a human connection. He said, sure, let's do that. So when I was in the benchmarking visit in Coca-Cola headquarters, John Hackett is the global head of strategy for Coca-Cola. So we were having dinner at a Thai restaurant, and I was sitting beside him, and I was talking about the fish I was eating. Then I said, I'm going to Shanghai next week. This was Thursday. I said, next week I'm in Shanghai. And he said, really? I said, yeah, I'm going there on Monday. He said, I'm there on Monday and Tuesday, but I'm going through Seoul. So I said, well, I'm meeting with somebody on your team. He said, who? I said, Vinny Tucker. He said, I interviewed and hired him 2 years ago. And I'm meeting him on Monday at the Shangri-La for drinks. Why don't you join me? So it just happened. So I went to have drinks with him in the 27th floor of Shanghai. We made a very deep connection. We started exchanging information about agencies that work. Coca-Cola is investing a lot, as you know, in China, like in Mexico. So he gave me hints about agencies. He gave me hints about what to look out for. And I told him what we were doing on the platform. So I think that's kind of unexpected, right? But you have to be authentic. And you have to look for these opportunities, and you have to be connected to it. It just happens. So I think if you open up your channels, things start happening. I think we are very guarded. We don't want to say things, we don't want to make the time. So I think that's what we have to do, is reinvent how we open our channels to the way these digital technologies are connecting people.
Thank you, Raj. It really inspires me. And my next question is regarding sustainable innovation. I think a lot of people will be inspired about your keynote, about being innovative and looking for new things. And we'll speak about e-commerce later on. I have a question about that. But 3M, the company, has been innovative for 100 years. I mean, it's not the same to be innovative once in a while. You guys been innovative all the time. So what advice can you give to companies, to CEOs, to board members that see innovation like an extra when it has to be part of their work? What can you tell them?
So I'll speak to the simple side first, and then I'll make a comment about something a little bit more complicated. So I think firstly, the most simple notion about innovation is that slide I showed about the smokestack. And I didn't say it on stage, but it's something called customer-inspired innovation, that when you're inspired by customers and you're talking to customers about how they innovate, and you absorb that opportunity and you co-innovate with them, I think that sustains. Yeah, so co-innovation is critical. So Boeing, Samsung, I can give you any number of names of big clients of 3M where we thrive on the co-innovation model, right? So Boeing wanted to put a really heavy wing on its new 787 3M adhesive technology, right? So that's innovation at its best. When you're co-inventing with customers, you're creating new experiences. The more complicated answer is there money in invention, right? And innovation. What's the impact of innovation and invention on the bottom line of a company? So our CEO and our board has embraced a model called NPVI, which is New Product Vitality Index. So we measure every 5 years what percentage of our sales is coming from products that were just launched within the last 5 years. Because our new products generally have a higher margin than products that have been in the market for longer, right? So patents and those things all play a part in that. But I think innovation sustains margins, actually. I think a lot of companies think about innovation and invention as an expense. We think of it as a way to hold and expand our profit margin as a company. Yeah.
Wow. Really interesting. And just the last question. You spoke about digital, you spoke about e-commerce. You guys are doing a great job with it. You said something interesting. You said digital is not linear. Yeah. No, and I would like you to reinforce that idea, because there's people that really want to do things by the book. And it's interesting, but when you want to do everything by the book, most of the times you end up doing nothing. No, so digital is not linear. So what it is then?
I'll tell you from a practical experience. I feel that digital is not linear, it's not sequential, it's exponential. Because I think there are certain factors, once they line up and they're in place. I talked about 3 of the 5 things. One being enterprise mobility, the other being social connectivity, and then e-commerce. Once you line up that trifecta in your operating model, you can leverage digital to transform your growth trajectory. So we've measured that with e-commerce. So the work we're doing at Amazon, the work we're doing with Alibaba's platforms and Jingdong, and also in Japan with Rakuten, we are not seeing, we talk about the top 10 accounts for 3M, right? Sustained 10-12% increase in sales to those accounts. Very linear, quite sequential. But when we look at marketplaces and digital platforms, once we start selling our products on them or helping our channel sell on them, exponential, because everyone is connected to at least 15 more people. Okay, so while you're personally connected to hundreds, you're connected personally to at least 15 people who are buyers. We've done the research, okay? We know that every person who has at least 500 connections, of those 500, at least 15 are people who are also buyers. So once we sell on digital platforms, they start writing reviews and they start rating your product. Results can be either way. It can go this way or that way, depending on how good your product is. Exponentially either way, right? You can go down very fast or you can go up very fast. So I feel that that is something you cannot follow a playbook. You have to play. Okay? So by playing, you can do it. But by reading a playbook, you'll just be reading, for a long time.
Thank you so much, Raj. Don't follow the playbook, just play. Thank you so much. Muchas gracias a todos los que estuvieron viendo este video. Muchísimo aprendizaje por aplicar. Y bueno, muchísimas gracias a 3M IAB Conecta 2014. Seguimos conectados con grandes entrevistas.